I'm sorry. It never fails. At least once a year, a cold knocks me on my booty, and I have to try to get through a video lesson with hardly any voice. Today's one of those days, but that's okay, because that's not going to affect what kind of awesome stuff we're going to learn today. Today, we're doing a bag of licks lesson. You're familiar with these, right? This is where I just load you up with lots of content that you can immediately start working into your playing. And this one's in particular dealing with the key of E, playing rhythm with, those good old country songs that sound something like that. And being able to go back and forth between the chords and throwing in some interesting licks, particularly in a band setting, but also if you're playing solo. This is so good because we're going to walk through all these different kinds of licks, walk-ups and delayed walk-ups and using licks to get up and back. And we're going to talk about all kinds of different combinations that we can use there. If you're watching here on the website as a Go Pick member, you have everything you need right here on this page. Just scroll down for the rest of the videos and the tabs and the MP3 jam tracks that you can practice along with. If you're watching somewhere else like Facebook or YouTube, you can come over to the website, join as a Go Pick member, have access to this lesson and hundreds more, including lots more bag of licks, rhythm lessons, and other keys. So go check those out. Let's jump right in. Now we're technically in the key of E major. That's what we're looking at. But we're going to use a lot of notes whenever we're walking up to the various chords and playing licks to get to different chords that aren't right in that E major scale. Okay, we're going to get in between those notes, use some of those blues notes and borrow those from an E minor or a G major scale. And so those will sound good. I won't go into tons of theory about that, but just know that we're getting outside the E major scale. Now, if we're in the key of E major, our three most common chords are what? You know what they are. Well, they're going to be E, right? That's going to be your tonic chord. And then we're going to have a 4 chord, which will be an A chord. And then we're going to have a B chord, which will be the 5 chord. But the way that we're going to play that is not like that or like that. We're going to play a B7 chord for this particular exercise. And it's the one that I use most often when I'm playing these country and bluegrass songs out of an E position. The way that you make that, it takes a little while to get used to it, but then it's pretty easy to make. We're going to start with our 5th string on the 2nd fret. Then we go 1st fret, and then 2nd fret again, open 2nd string, and then our pinky gets the 2nd fret on the 1st string. So 2, 1, 2, open 2. Yeah, it's kind of a cluster there, but you'll get used to that. It sounds really good, doesn't it? Now, we're going to have several different kinds of transition licks going in between the E and the A and the B chords and coming back down to the E. We're going to talk about some walks first. Let's go ahead and look at the tab there. And the first one we have, I just call a quarter walk. The reason why I call it a quarter walk is because we're using quarter notes to simply walk from one chord to the next. So we got 2 measures of E here. That's the way I have it set up. And then we're going to go to 2 measures of A. And we want to get from this E note down here to this A note right there. And one way that we can do it is just walk up with quarter notes. And we see that there in the 2nd measure, it's labeled measure 4. Now again, we're using one note in there that's not technically in the E major scale, but that's okay. It sounds good. And this will sound good for most all of your country and bluegrass songs that have that bluesy feel. If you're playing something really, really happy and major, it might sound a little weird and you'd stay away from that. So we're just going to play one note per beat. So if we put that together, starting there at the start of the tab, it sounds like this. Pretty simple, huh? Now, the thing is, we don't have to play just those notes, and we don't have to play a note on every one of the quarter notes. So what I want you to get from this lesson, and we're going to do this with each of these types of transition licks, is not just to play what's on the tab, but let's understand what we're doing. So for instance, what we could do there in that walk-up is forget about one of the quarter notes and just play a half note instead. It would sound something like this. You see what I did? I just substitute some more rhythm in for that 2nd beat. Or I could go. And the possibilities are almost endless. We have tons of possibilities that we could do and start messing with the rhythm, which we'll see more of here in a moment, and also mess with the notes that we're walking up. But almost all of these notes, until we get to this A note here, sounds good, is legal to play up to the A note. When we get to the end of this line, we're going to quarter note walk, starting on the 3rd beat of that measure 6, up to our B7 chord. But let's play this line really slowly together, and then we'll play the whole exercise all the way through slowly later. go into that B7 chord. So you're walking into that B7. So measure 7 is just B7 rhythm. And now we're going to just walk some quarter notes back down from B to E. Now those are, in measure 8, those are just notes that I chose. Why don't you pause the video and experiment what it would sound like to choose some other notes besides these to get back down to that E. You could go, that would sound cool, wouldn't it? Or that might sound cool. Or you could skip one of the notes like we did before. But this whole line sounds like this. So that's one time through the progression. We go 2 measures of E, 2 measures of A, 2 measures of B, back to 2 measures of E again. So just think about the concept of using quarter notes to walk in between these chords, and let's think about what notes we can use to get there. Sometimes it's trial and error. Well, that fret doesn't sound very good, or this one sounds better than that one. That's great. And then you can also not play a note every quarter note. You can throw a half note in there. You can delay them, or like we're about to see, you can use some eighth notes to create more movement. So that creates more energy. Let's look at that next. If you're watching here on the site as a GoPick member, you have the rest of this 30-minute lesson down below. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, I'd love to have you over on the site.